Warning, there will be spoilers for the Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3. If you haven't watched it yet, proceed with extreme caution. You have been warned. The Bad Batch Season 2 is well underway. 30 episodes in, and we're getting so much more excitement. The first 2 episodes, I did a review on those, and was less than stellar for me, but I knew the episodes would pick up later on. You can't have an opening of every episode being amazing. So, this episode is just that, amazing. Let's get into it. As I said before, there are spoilers for the Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, come back, or proceed with caution. Sorry, I can't reiterate that enough. The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3, titled The Solitary Clone, is just that. It's about a solitary clone. Although there are multiple clones in the episode, it is centric to Crosshair. Finally, we get to see what Crosshair's been up to, how long he's been on that platform, and how long it took the Empire to rescue him. Also, let's go through the thoughts of what's going on with Crosshair. Crosshair awakens to an alarm, his morning alarm, I would assume, and then while he's eating his morning breakfast in the chow hall, he is called upon to Vice Admiral Rampart's office. Vice Admiral Rampart tells him, I have a mission for you. There's a separatist stronghold still remaining in one of the sectors that used to be controlled by the separatists, battle droids, and whatnot. The mission is simple. Go in under the ruse of peace, but taking out the separatists and rescuing the captured Imperial governor. But Crosshair isn't to be the commander of this mission. No, he's sent along to meet up with the commander. The commander of this mission is none other than Commander Cody. Cody branding a new look. Crosshair doesn't recognize him. Where Cody once had the orangish yellow markings, he is now branded with the gray, showing that the Empire is less about individual mind and more about conformity. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the episode. I'm sure you've all seen it if you made it to this far in my video, but I will say there are a couple instances where Crosshair takes over command and pushes Cody aside to tell him how we are going to beat this separatist army. Then, at the end of the episode, Cody disappears. But before he does disappear, he talks to Crosshair and tells him, look, this Empire isn't what we were made for. This Empire is something else. This isn't peace. Is the Empire actually doing good? That makes Crosshair think. Then at the end of the episode, Admiral Rampart calls Crosshair one more time, says, okay, I got another mission for you. Doesn't really explain what the mission is, though. But while Rampart is talking to Crosshair, he tells him that Cody has went AWOL and that it seems more and more clones are doing this, that clone loyalty is no longer a thing. And in one of the conversations before the mission that Cody had with Crosshair, he also mentioned that more and more clones are not going along with this, that they're having doubts as to what their mission actually is. So this is where I get to the I told you so part. Yeah, I don't like to gloat really, but I'm excited. You know, I said some things in one of my other videos and one of my review videos that suggested that there may be a clone uprising or a mass migration away from the Empire. And it seems that's becoming the case. Now, in other iterations of Star Wars projects, we haven't seen much of this timeline. We haven't seen much of the clone transition into stormtroopers. But in the expanded universe of old, we did have a little bit of that transition, and in that were stories of Commander Cody staying on in the Empire and training new recruits who would become stormtroopers. Well, it seems they've thrown the expanded universe out once again, but that's okay, because this story seems a little more interesting. We had all hoped that Commander Cody would come to his senses and rebel, go against the Empire. Not necessarily fight them, but leave the Empire because of his own moral code. And it seems the Empire is not in line with a lot of the clones' moral code. So this is going to lead to more and more and more clones leaving the Empire and joining either the rebellion or going off on their own. Now, I don't want to stick to the I told you so parts too much, but let's go on and say that the inhibitor chips are losing their function, that maybe they're degrading over time, and that the independence of the clones, their independent identities, are coming back. Now, I know that's hard to do because they're all clones of Jango Fett, and they should all carry in Jango Fett's attitude, his ferocity or veracity. I don't know what the word is, but you know what I'm trying to get at. They should all be similar to Jango Fett in some way. Of course, they're going to develop their own independent identities and their own independent attitudes due to their own experiences and upbringing, much different than what Jango Fett went through. Now, the Bad Batch is really getting interesting. This is a time period I love that they're exploring. It's something that I've hoped for so long. Yes, we had the books and comics of old, but I wanted to see it on screen. Not that I don't like reading, but, it's just nice to see it on screen and let other people who don't read the novels and comics to experience it as well. Where I was first questioning, what's going on with the Bad Batch Season 2 and the first 2 episodes, because they seemed a little lackluster. And after a while, I did realize, these are deeper than I thought because of the Wilco story, how he went against his own orders and got shot for it. But now we're seeing bigger names, Cody doing it. Rex is already gone, but he took out his inhibitor chip during Order 66, so we can't really count that as his own independent way of fighting against his orders. But now Cody did not have his chip removed, and he is going against what the Empire stands for. And we're going to see more clones doing that. Now, the Bad Batch Season 2 has a lot of promising aspects. There is a lot of potential for some really good Star Wars storytelling in here, and I hope a lot of people are watching it. My review of this is this episode gets about an 8.5 out of 10. I say 8.5 because the battle droid thing, it's becoming a little played. It's starting to pop up in every era of Star Wars, and it's not getting old, but it's getting a little, played out. Let's move on to something else. We know there are separatist strongholds still out there, with the battle droids being reactivated by independent systems or independent people who just want an army. We saw it in Star Wars Rebels, and we've seen it in the Darth Vader comics, where Darth Vader raises an army of battle droids so he can try to take over the Emperor. But that didn't work out so well for him, as we see in episodes 4, 5, and 6. He's still under the Emperor's control. Palpatine has a lot of control, I would assume. Now, I also only give this an 8.5 out of 10 because the animation, while it is really good in some parts, it looks like actual people going through the motions. But there are other parts where, like with the governor who's going to replace the governor on the planet, he seems more like a Rebels animation than what we'd expect from the Clone Wars. More kiddish. But I guess that's the transition period we're going to get into in Rebels, where we don't see the animation as eye-popping as it is in the Clone Wars or the Bad Batch Season 1. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10 for those two things, the Separatist battle droids and just little parts of the animation that really caught my attention, seemed out of place. Now, I am really looking forward to the other 13 episodes of the Bad Batch Season 2, which we know is going to end at some point in, I think, March, and then the Mandalorian Season 3 will take over. So much Star Wars to get through, so many reviews to do. I'd really like to get back to some of the older stuff and move on, but this is not my full-time job as much as I wish it was. I have to stick with what I can do for the moment, but there will come a time when I'm able to make probably multiple videos a day, and that's what I plan on doing. So if you're new here to this channel, please go on and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It all really does help my channel grow, and it helps me to put out more content for you guys, gives me more time. So hit it, hit the like button, and become a Star Wars fanatic, as if you weren't already. I'm sure you were. But thank you all for watching. Leave a comment down below as to what you thought of the episode, Season 2, Episode 3 of The Bad Batch. Thank you all for watching. This is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. And remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars community is the only way.